This is the incredibly frustrating story of my experience with Dunster House. Dunster House are a national company. I believe they've got a couple of showrooms. They offer a wide range of wood-built huts, sheds, summer houses, etc., home offices. And actually, in fairness, their products are pretty good. They're always a little bit cheaper than going to an independent local as well. So once we've been to some shows, some conferences, and had a look around some of the products, we opted for Dunster House. Got in touch, and that's when the problems first started. Their salespeople were so pushy. I mean, I'm talking about worse than any of the dodgiest used car dealers you can ever imagine. They were pushy. They would phone at the wrong times. They would say, you've got to buy now, the prices are going to go up. All the pressure tactics you'd expect from a low-class sales guy. So anyway, we put a complaint in about our original sales guy and went with someone else, but we'd already decided that Dunster House was the product for us. And we chose this one here. You can see in front of us, this is day one of the install. This is one of their premium plus Vanguard models, and it's 6 meters wide by 5 meters front to back. It's insulated top and bottom with, I think, somewhere in the region of 4.5 centimeters thickness of sidewalls, non-insulated. They do an insulated version, but it costs a lot more. So in total, including the installation fee, we're looking at around £9,000 worth of Summerhouse there. And it will have, by the time it's finished, it will have double glazed doors, windows front and windows at both sides as well. Okay. So, as part of this whole living the dream in the back garden, we had to create a concrete base big enough to support the hot tub and the summer house. So we got a local builder in, and he created this concrete base. It's about 6 or 7 inches thick. It's steel reinforced. It's 13 meters from one end to the other, and it's 6 meters front to back. Okay. Now, problem number 2. Dunster House turned up on day one of the installation several weeks ago, and they survey the concrete base and find it to be outside of their tolerance. Now, the documentation they offer is a little bit sketchy, actually. They offer 2 different versions. One says plus or minus 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter from corner to far corner, and the other says plus or minus 20 millimeters. So that would be the absolute tolerance levels of 20 mil. That's how I read it anyway. And we thought we were all good, but local builder came in, created the concrete base. They turned up, surveyed the concrete, and found it to be up to 45 millimeters. So the highest point was at this front corner, and it sloped down to the far corner over at the back there. Okay, it was a gradual slope. I believe in hindsight, I think maybe the builder had ordered a specific amount of concrete and found himself to be a little bit short, so he was just spreading it a bit too thin towards the end of the build. That's my gut feeling on it. But anyway, Dunster House, they pack or shim up their bearers. So they use these wooden, very, very cheap, flexible bearers. They will only pack to 20 millimeters. I guess that's why they offer the tolerance of 20 mil. And they do not feel it's safe to pack the bearer timbers here that you can see, any higher than 20 millimeters. Now, in my mind, that's crazy. This is such a big house. I mean, corner to corner, I think, doing my Pythagoras theorem, it's around about 8.8 meters. And actually, we surveyed, we got our own surveyor in. It wasn't 45 millimeters out, it was 32 millimeters out. Now, I appreciate that's not flat at all, but it's certainly not bad, and I don't think it would actually cause much in the way of problems once you pack them out. I even offered to go to the local builder's merchant and do away with Dunster House's packers and go with steel galvanized packers instead, and they point blank refused. Nope, can't use anything the customer offers, got to use our own products. Okay, they will not do it. They downed tools and left essentially on day one. and for the privilege they charged me £600. There was no getting out of that. Now that is a cost I will attempt to push back onto the builder for the concrete base and recoup my money that way, because essentially it was his fault. So anyway, we move on several weeks. The builder comes back, he re-skims in the back corner a couple of times actually to build it up, and reassures us that the concrete base is now within tolerance. And I wasn't there that day, I was at work, so I took his word for it. I haven't seen any measurements per se, but we arranged a date for Dunster House to come back in for a second installation attempt, which is today. And lo and behold, they survey the concrete base and they say it's still at least 30 if not 35 millimeters from one corner to the next out, so it's out of tolerance by up to 15 millimeters. Again, they refused to pack the barer timbers. Now interestingly, the documentation says they will offer to have the customer sign a disclaimer if the concrete base is not perfectly flat, and I did not get that option this time round either. So I'm faced with yet a second £600 bill, which of course I don't want to pay. I don't have the money for that. We've had to put it on the credit card, and I asked them what other options are available. Again, I offered to go to the local builder merchant and buy galvanised plates, which would have been perfectly adequate, and they turned that down. So they did provide me with another option. Okay, right. For the pricely sum of £1,836, yes, you heard me correctly, £1,836, I could buy, direct from Dunster House, their rapid pad system. Now this consists of, you can see now, because they have started the build, these black plastic adjustable bases, which I've read the spec on them, they will adjust up to 10 centimeters or 100 millimeters. So they're really designed for land that is a lot less flat than what we've got here on this concrete pad. As part of that £1,836, you also get 11 extra bearer timbers. So I'm presuming it's the ones front to back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I can buy those adjustable plastic pads for about £4.50 each. There are, I believe, 61 of them here, okay, and I believe I can get the timbers for around £7 to £10 each, okay, of which there are 11. Now that doesn't make 1,836 quid by any stretch. What you also get, or you're forced to buy, if I move over to the house now, is this plastic lattice system. Now you'll get this on people's driveways, they have gravel driveways and all sorts of stuff. So I've got a lot of this stuff here. I suspect this is where the main expense comes from out of all the 1,800 odd quid. Plastic with spikes. The idea, of course, is the spikes dig into the ground. You can put it on, well, lawn or maybe just direct onto soil, and then of course you'd snap them together or fit them next to each other, and then you take your pea gravel and you would pour it all over the lattice to make a base that drained well. The thing is, that is designed, as I say, to go on soil. So why are they forcing me to spend 1,836 quid to put it onto what is effectively near flat concrete pad, where actually you can't use those? They have forced me to spend money that is completely unnecessary and a waste of my money. That now sits in my garden, useless, cannot be used on this project at all. And if I hadn't have spent that 1,836 quid, they'd have downed tools and gone again. So they're kind of forcing me to spend money with them, and that is what I'm reading a lot on the reviews online now, that they do this. Now don't get me wrong, the concrete pad, as far as I can tell, is still slightly off flat, but not to the point where you would stop and not build your summer house. It's pathetic. It puts you in a position where you have to spend more money with them, and I need to make everyone aware that if you buy from Dunster House, you better make damn sure your concrete pad is perfectly level and have that documented by your builder. Okay, you use surveying equipment, get a self-calibrating laser spirit level and check each corner and make sure it's within, I'd say make sure it's within 10 millimeters. Now that's quite difficult for a pad of this size. So customer service is appalling. They're argumentative. They only respond to emails. They refuse to speak to you on the telephone. So please, people, if you're going to use Dunster House, think about it first.